Welcome, everybody. Hi, it's Crystal from Fat Product Review, and I'm so excited and honored to have Substantia here today from the Adipositivity Project. Is that what you call it, Substantia? Adipositivity Project?
Yes.
Okay, cool. So tell everybody what adipositivity is.
The word adipositivity is a portmanteau of the words adipose, meaning literally fat tissue, and positivity, meaning hooray. And put them together and, hooray for fat tissue. Fat people, fat.
We need adipose tissue, by the way. You have to have it.
Yes, we do.
Keeps us alive, helps us keep our brain insulated. It does so many wonderful things for us.
Absolutely.
How can people find your photos and all of your different cool stuff that you're up to?
Best thing to do is go to adipositivity.com, ADI positivity, all one word, .com, especially now because I'm banned from Facebook currently. But when I'm not banned from Facebook, I am on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram as at Adipositivity. And on Facebook as at Substantia Jones as well.
Oh, yeah, Substantia Jones. So many lovely photos of beautiful fat bodies in motion, fat bodies in sexy positions, fat bodies just relaxing, fat bodies snuggling, everything you can think of.
Fat bodies doing everything except apologizing for their fat.
Exactly. Unapologetically fat. That's me. Hell yeah. I wish I could get in the brain of every single human and just be like, stop giving a fuck about what people think. But it's a journey, I know.
It's a waste of time. It's a waste of life. It's a waste of anguish.
Yes.
I used to be on that weight loss train. I would get on a diet. I would lose a bunch of weight. I would gain it back with a dividend. I was thin when I started dieting and, kept my set. I would reset my set weight each time.
Yep.
And
there. It's like anybody can lose weight, right? We can all do it. But how many of us can keep it off for more than a year or 2 years or 5 years?
Even the terrible diet industry no longer disputes the fact that only 5 to 15% of people keep weight off that they've lost.
Yes.
And in the process, they're jeopardizing their health by yo-yoing or calorie restriction. So don't do it.
Yep. Yeah, yo-yo dieting is really bad. I mean, yeah, but it's so difficult when you're like, for me, I'm 52. When I was growing up, it was my, always seeing, around the house and around my friends' homes, the Weight Watchers meals and the diet center and all that stuff. And, it was like ingrained, just like, of course you're going to be on a diet. And then one day I found out, guess what? You can be fat and fabulous. And I was like, mind blown.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, yeah, no more. Because, man, yo-yo dieting is really bad on your kidneys and your liver and your brain and your eyeballs. And it's...
And I also grew up in a diet culture. Sometimes when adiposers are telling me about, the horrible things the lessons they were taught by their parents, by their classmates, I'll think, oh, that's horrible. And then later I'll realize I heard all that too. But for some reason it didn't find fertile soil in me as much, even though I spent many years dieting and gaining back and dieting and gaining back. Someone recently asked me why, what motivated me. I didn't have an answer. I could not tell them. I said, I don't know. I didn't have a really bad body image once I was in my 20s anyway. At the time I did the most of it, I was married to a man who was all about me. So it wasn't that. I think it was just habit.
Yeah, I think so.
Fall into what everybody else is doing. And I think that's what I did until I really jeopardized my health. And I did this diet pill cocktail called Fen-Phen.
Oh.
People may remember from the 90s. Crystal, I had such a hard on to lose weight, to lose gobs of weight. Again, I don't know why. That I traveled 3 hours each way to go to this doctor who was the second one in the country who was offering it. and all about money, 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 money.
Yeah.
And it just, what it did was just make you never hungry. And I one time called him to ask if I could die from never putting food into my mouth, because I would have like maybe 3 bites of food. We should warn people that we're talking about
Yes, right, yeah.
extreme stuff. But you know, I would have maybe 3 bites of food a day. I would drink lots of Cokes, though. For some reason, I craved Cokes, and I smelled like cake batter all the time.
Ooh, I love that smell, though.
And I of course, yeah, I know. That was like walking around.
Mm.
I did this until people started having heart valve damage.
Yeah, I remember that.
They took it off the market, and I said, "Oh, this is, you know, a jolly good mess you've gotten yourself into." So I've had the tests, and I don't have any heart issues, fortunately.
Okay.
But the last one, I said, This is so foolish. I'm never going to do this again."
Right, freedom.
Then I worked on this,
Yeah.
you know, rather
Yeah.
than my fat ass. I'm not wearing pants. You can tell.
Shh, I won't tell anybody.
But
So,
that's what, you know, this is what needed to be fixed.
and so is that kind of where you found your inspiration to start photographing fat bodies?
No, I was already a photographer at the time, and when I stopped dieting after the fen, I went through a good long period of just sort of body limbo where I no longer felt horrible. Um, Not that I ever felt horrible, but I just didn't think about it for a
Yeah.
long time. But I was not motivated to come out as a fat person.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you know, there's a demarcation where
There
you're
is.
okay with your body, but it's still a while before you're ready to come out as a fat person. And if anybody is watching who doesn't know what coming out as a fat person is, it means, you know, you no longer have the calorie count chat in the break room at work, or exactly or any of that. You know, you're no
Yeah.
an apologist. You're not afraid to eat whatever the fuck you should. I'm sorry, can I
You
curse?
can cuss all you want, but
Whatever
you actually have other fucking things to talk about besides your fucking cleanse and your
thing,
diet and your calories. Oh, it's so fucking boring.
like I hate I will say a young relative, I won't say who. I'm sure she's not on board with me telling this story, but she was 10 years old. I was driving. I was still living back home in another state.
Yeah.
And a woman was walking down the road. She was sauntering. She was, you know, sauntering, enjoying the weather. And my 10-year-old young relative said, "That woman's not getting any benefit from walking that slowly." So
Starts early.
I said, "She's listening to the birds. She's enjoying the weather. She's, you know, can feel the moist air and smell the greenery." And this 10-year-old immediately got it. I didn't even have to finish the first sentence. That's sometimes what it takes. We get in a rut of diet talk. Whether we mean it or not, whether we feel it or not, it becomes a habit. And I was very much in that culture, pretty deeply, and no more.
I remember that used to be this magnet on everybody's refrigerator. Nothing tastes as good as feeling thin, as being thin feels. And I was like, the fuck are you people
I
doing?
was wondering what has happened to her. Yeah,
Yeah. What are you people eating? Like, you're obviously not eating the right foods. I just don't. Yeah, that's so sad. Or like, I used to see a lot of like messaging. There's a thin person just dying to get out of me. I'm like, no, missing. She's gone. I don't know where she is.
nothing.
Never seen her. It's crazy how young it starts in young people, how they start getting the messaging so early. But so tell people, when you would photograph fat bodies or before the pandemic, um, how would you do it? How would you find them? Where would you photograph them? Are they naked, clothed, all those kinds of things?
They usually contact me. They find me Rarely do I approach someone and ask them, because that, I'm always afraid, not every fat person is an out fat person.
Yes,
Um,
true.
but they usually, I mean, in the very beginning, I would go hunting for people, but ever since a few months into it, back in '07 when I began, people contact me,
Yep.
and we, there's no acceptance process if you are fat. I just say, promise me you're fat, and if we can get together in the same room, you're an adiposer. There's no, acceptance process.
Right, right.
Then, I shoot them. There's a long ass list of things to expect. They're all based on things which have happened and questions that have come up. And so I make everybody read this long ass list of
Yep.
really the worst that can happen before the shoot, during the shoot, and after the shoot. I want everyone to be completely prepared. I'm uncomfortable when people, especially young people, don't really give enough thought, and they show up on the day and say, yeah, I'll be totally nude. And I said, that doesn't sound like you've really thought about it. So
Yeah, yeah.
people to know that it's, it's forever. I mean,
Yep.
internet is forever. Even if I take it down immediately, which don't ask me to do that.
Right.
If I do, it's still too late. People have grabbed it, and it's, it's out there forever. So
It's on a server somewhere.
yes. Don't I know it?
And I
So
think your long list, because I filled it out when you photographed me, and I think also a lot of your concern comes in that people have to know that some people in the world have a lot of fucking disdain for fat people for no clear reason, and you're going to possibly get trolled.
that's one of the things I warn people about. Be prepared to have your photo used for ridicule. If it's in an illegal way, then I do something about it. If once it's brought to my attention, but be prepared for it to happen. I mean, it's happened. It continues to happen. Sometimes it's happened in a very big way, which we all know about. Sometimes it's just lots of little ways, and I get heads ups every day pretty much about, is this your picture, or these people are doing this.
Mm-hmm.
So you need to be prepared for that.
Yeah, the blowback. Because people really, if you think they have disdain for fat people, they really have serious disdain for fat people who have stopped dieting and who are enjoying their lives and who are not spinning their circles, spinning their wheels, thinking about how to lose 5 pounds. That really pisses people off like so bad.
Add to that, if we are satisfied sexually, oh my God.
And they're so angry.
Worse, if we are having good sex but not with them,
Yes.
oh my God.
Yeah, I used to, when I would be on those dating sites, date me, go out with me, go out with me. So sorry, no, thank you, fat bitch. I'm like,
Okay.
wait, what do you mean?
It's such a thing that I think it's such a universal fat woman experience that you can count, if you say no. And I try to say, I was born and raised in the South. I'm a New Yorker for more than 20 years, but I was born and raised in the South. So I try to be very polite to everyone, especially
Good manners.
if they kill me. So I do try to always, say no politely, but then I'm thinking 3, 2, 1. Fat bitch, I didn't want to have,
Yeah. Yeah, sure. It's like, wow, you have a great taste in women, or you don't. I don't know. Which one is it? Idiots. All
And
those men.
the past 2 years, I've only dated women, and I have to say, I have no idea what I was doing with men for all my life.
I
What
always
was
joke.
I thinking? I've tried to conjure, could I ever be attracted to a man again? And the answer is just a resounding no. I'm sorry. Some of you are very lovely people, but just, I don't want to get with you.
Yeah, I always say I would totally be a lesbian except for that whole penis thing, and lesbians frown upon that. But I mean, nowadays you can have sex
Exactly.
with whoever you want, and it's less or less rude or judgy about it. But yeah, it's just that whole damn penis attached to that body thing that I love so much. So
Not
yeah, otherwise women are. so fun to hang out with. I love being around women. My whole life is spent my whole life around women, so it's so
I could so easily live without Dick. Except they're a nice barometer.
yes.
Like I can read you, despite what you want me to know about you. I can read you. But other than that, no, I have no use for penises.
Yeah, I hear you. So, are you obviously the pandemic has affected pretty much everybody. Is there any kind of pivot that you've been able to do? I know you've been dealing with some health problems. I want to talk about that in the end here, but are you able to take any photographs right now?
No.
Okay.
That simple answer. I have an airway defect that essentially I have like a little baby's airway. So I've been on strict isolation since March 11th. The
Yeah,
only time
wow.
I've been out is to go to the hospital twice, which I guess we'll talk about in a second. But no shooting since then. Now, at the time this began, I had quite a backlog of
Mm,
images, so I
mm.
no problem. I'm not gonna, updates are not even gonna slow down. And also, we were thinking this will be over in no time. I don't know why we were thinking that, but no. Now I'm like scrounging and trying to, I'm going back through other images that I didn't use before, also RANs, I call them, um,
Sure.
and there has been a slowdown in updates.
Yeah.
But for some reason, and I'm so grateful to this for this, my Patreon support has not wavered, and I
Right.
fully expected it to. I would have totally understood, but it hasn't. And I want those folks to know that I love them and I see them and I appreciate them.
We'll definitely put your Patreon in the show notes, and we'll put your Adipositivity website in the show notes. And then people can buy photographs from you, right?
Yes, Adipositivity.com.
Yeah, okay, that's lovely. And that doesn't, and so if they buy the photographs, then how does how do you deliver that? Do you deliver them a digital image that they can?
My host is it's a photography site. They
Okay.
host photo galleries specifically. When you order prints, it doesn't go through me at all. I chose them because of the printmakers that they use are really good, and we've had our differences. They also don't like Dick.
Oh.
We've had differences. They've said, we're a family operation, and I say, you have your minor children working in the lab. Should I go find someone about this cultural?
Silly.
So hard for me to operate when systems are so afraid of casual nudity, and I'm not even talking about sex. I'm talking about
Right. Yes.
casual nudity that has nothing to do with anything that could be considered naughty. It's just that we are so puritanical,
Right.
and also we interpret, we assign sex. It's like I have to always say, nudity is not sex is not porn, and porn is not inherently evil.
Right.
And I'm always up against that with, I think I've just lost my calendar printer again,
Really?
which happened before. They won't get back to me. They just like deleted my account and they won't even tell me why. And so,
It's like
you know,
it's like the whole breastfeeding thing, right? These are to nourish a baby. These don't just when you see a breast, it doesn't mean sex. It means nourishment, food for a child. Sacks of fat, sacks of adipose tissue, but people sexualize them like right away, and especially Americans. I know.
if the sight of casual nudity always makes you think of sex, you need to get out more. You need to get yourself in front of a mirror more, maybe.
Right, exactly. Take a walk outside of your neighborhood. I mean,
Yeah.
if you travel to Europe or anywhere outside of the United States, you'll see breasts in the newspaper. It's like not that big of a deal because they are just sacks of adipose tissue. But yeah, it's so crazy.
Nothing nice though.
Yes, Americans are so ridiculous. When I was doing all those pleasure parties all those years, people would say like, "Oh, be careful about what you say, or but then I would get in the bedroom where the sex toys were for them to purchase, and they're like, buy $1,000 of butt plugs and fist dildos, and I was like, I thought we couldn't say penis today, it's like people are just, yeah, it's weird,
We
so
are.
strange. Yeah, our culture is very weird about sex and bodies and nudity because really your body's just a beautiful piece of art, right? It's not inherently sexual, it's just a thing, and we have sex organs, but that doesn't make it sexual. I don't know. I could go on forever.
Skip over normal, healthy sexuality, skip straight to victimization.
Yeah,
I think it's because we are so afraid of normal, healthy sexuality that I think it sometimes fuels victimization.
probably.
And notice I didn't say perversion because, I'm a pervert. Many of my friends are perverts.
Absolutely.
Perversion,
Um,
I hate what's happened to that word, but
yeah,
I'm a nice person.
me too. I pay my taxes.
Yeah.
um, have you seen that show P Valley on Stars?
P Valley, no, I don't have stars though.
It's so good. It's
What does the P stand for?
I think it stands for either pussy or porn, but it's basically set in a strip club in like the outside of like little town in Georgia, and
Mhm.
oh, it's so good. And it's not shot through the male gaze; it's shot like through these women's job of being a stripper dancer and just how empowered they are. It's done so well. It's like wow, it blew my mind. I watched it all in one day. I was like, I can't stop watching it.
I have to try to find it some other way.
Yeah, it's really, really interesting. I'll put it in the show notes too, because it's really good. Um, so let's talk a little bit about your health. You're okay right now, but you have a surgery coming up. You had us a little bit scared there for a little while.
Me too, because I've never had, I've always been very fortunate. Um, but beginning the end of last year, I started getting stomach aches. And then New Year's Eve, I had the mother of all gallbladder attacks. And I knew it was a gallbladder attack as soon as even though it felt, most people would have thought it was a heart attack because it was like crushing pain right in the center of my chest for 12 hours, crushing.
Mm,
But I knew I didn't have heart issues because I have a heart murmur. So I've had recent full heart tests. And I've been told since I was in my 20s, you have a gallstone. Why
mm,
don't you have your gallbladder out now while it's not a problem?
yeah.
If you wait, it'll be a problem. So I was like, I'm not I don't do anything ahead of time. So I didn't go to the hospital that night because it was New Year's Eve and this is New York City. And I knew, I'd never get a cab and.
Or
Um,
help at the hospital, probably. I'm sure they're booked, right? They're filled with people.
exactly. I would be in there with, people who were eating glass and stuff. Um, but I don't have an excuse for not going the next day or the next week, or except that's just who I am. I felt fine afterwards. Then it happened again, and I thought I did some reading, and I thought, okay, this is going to keep happening. But by
Yeah.
then, COVID had started. And I did not want to go. We in here in New York jumped in with both feet, and immediately our hospitals were full,
Yeah.
and elective surgery was out,
Yeah.
and so I'm fortunate to have a friend who was an MD, and he was keeping an eye on me, and having me take my temperature every day and drink
Yeah.
lots and lots of water to avoid getting dehydrated. And he was monitoring me, and I felt,
Nice.
felt comfortable.
Yeah.
But after my third gallbladder attack, I won't give you the grisly details, but it was,
I saw it on your email, on your Facebook. Yeah.
yeah. It
Crazy.
days later, it was still so bad. I called him and said, and this was the height. This was the end of March. This was the height of hospitals being full. I said, I've got to go. Tell me what to do. And so I'm so fortunate. He got on the phone. He called some doctor friends, including his dad, who's also a doctor. He called, people he went to med school with here in New York City to find out specifically who has who a good stock of PPE, because that was an issue at the time. In other words, what hospital is the safest? So I was advised where to go. I went, a doctor had called in ahead for me saying, expect her. So I was treated very well. They met me at the door, first with an EKG, because I think she doesn't know, but she's having a heart attack.
Yeah.
They gave me an EKG literally right inside the door. And that was fine. Then they shot me full of morphine and fentanyl. And
Oh.
in my mind, it feels like it was roughly the same few hours. Because I remember already being stoned when they were giving me fentanyl. I was like, what's this? And they said, fentanyl. Oh, I've heard good things. Go ahead. And they gave me an up the nose COVID test. So anyway, I was there for a week. I had 2 emergency surgeries, but my gallbladder has every complication. There are 4 complications. I have every one, including one that's extremely rare. So my gallbladder is still in me. It has attached itself to 2 other organs and tried to get the third one. One organ it's actually burrowed into and is communicating with, is the way they put it. So I've got like science fiction fuckery going on. For the most part, I feel fine. They've bounced back and forth between whether or not they're going to do this big major robotic surgery to try to get the thing out of me. So I think I'm going to have that surgery next month, but
you know how the kids say you're extra Substantia.
I know, I've got to do everything over the top.
Yes.
I had doctors coming in just, hey, I saw your images. I just wanted to meet you, out with a great surgeon, and he said, you are almost case reportable, meaning I almost made it into the medical journals. What's weird is he thinks the reason I feel fine now, when I should be screaming in pain all the time and unable to eat anything, he thinks it's because these 2 organs that are communicating with each other, he thinks is working to my benefit.
Huh. Wow.
Yeah, so like my
human body's so amazing.
Figured out a way to fix themselves temporarily, of course, and in a weird, monstery way. But anyway,
Frankenstein. I have a friend from one of my book clubs who was born with 2 vaginas, and but only 1 clitoris. So I was like, oh well, whatever. But she's in all those journals. When they discovered this, it was like they called everybody from the hospital, come check it out. She's got 2 vaginas. And all these people were in her room.
I'm sure the doctors did not joke about it after the fact either.
Never. So how was it being a person of size in the hospital, especially during COVID? Because, the world would have us believe that if you're fat, you're definitely going to die from COVID. And if you're fat, you don't deserve good treatment and you should be on a triage list and you should be way down the list if you're fat, and good luck getting any good treatment. So how did people treat you?
Well, I was certain I was not going to survive the hospital without COVID, because it was all around me. I used to teach infection control, and I would see violations all the time, and I was not picking up that pen from the floor. So everyone was actually pretty good to me, except they couldn't believe certain things. Like I was at one point hooked up to 5 machines. One of them was a blood pressure machine, which took my blood pressure every hour, and they couldn't believe that I had normal blood pressure. And they said, do you normally have normal blood pressure? And I said, yeah, it used to be a little low, but then I started taking diet pills and it messed me up, so now I have it permanently elevated to normal. But they, I joke that I think they did everything except bang on the side of the blood pressure machine to make sure it was working. They just could not believe it. I said, I've been here for a week. It's time to believe that my blood pressure is my blood pressure.
One time I scratched the cornea of my eye just doing something stupid, so I went to like the acute care nearby my house, and the poor person that was taking my blood pressure just was like, there's no way this is right. And she took it like 3 or 4 times, and one of the times They actually had me walking to my room, and she was following me with a blood pressure cuff, taking it for a 5th time. And I was like, I don't think you can take blood pressure. I think you have to be sitting down. You have to be calm. You have to have your arm you can't take it down the hallway. I'm like, what the fuck? Believe in your own eyes what you see on the meter. That's my blood pressure. It's like they're mad. I'm like, are you not happy for me? Aren't you happy that my blood pressure? So annoying.
Hospitals are, and it's, I tried to preach this to them while I was there, but hospitals are dangerous places. First of all, I said, I never get to sleep more than 2 hours at a time, and by the end I was hallucinating just from not sleeping.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
So, and what they give you to eat is just so, I mean, I was on liquid diet most of the time I was there anyway.
Right.
But then they jump you up, sometimes they would change my diet from liquid to solid to, several times in the same day. But they don't really focus on nutrition. They give you crap to eat and don't let you sleep. And I was like, you want to make sure we stay in the hospital, don't you?
Not getting enough sleep can put you into psychosis, right? I mean, it can cause problems.
I definitely felt it. By the time I got home, I'd hallucinated twice. I didn't really know what was happening the first time, and the second time it was so obvious. So I just had to clean all the COVID off of me and go straight to bed. And I was instantly asleep and slept for the longest time, and then I was fine.
I'm so happy you're doing better. I was just thinking about when I had my gallbladder attack, I had been doing Weight Watchers. I was working in high tech, and I had been walking a lot, and I was doing Weight Watchers. I was keeping my points, all that crap. And then my girlfriend said, hey, you want to walk over and have a burrito? I go, yeah, that sounds great. And I had this great idea to get, a vegetarian burrito with just whole beans and stuff. And then I ate it, and then it turned out they used lard with the beans, which made it really good. And that gave my gallbladder an attack because I had been eating Weight Watchers food or whatever that crap is. Mm-hmm. And then all of a sudden I had some lard, and then my body was like, no. And then my doctor said it's because you've been dieting. That's why your gallbladder gave you this hiccup, because your body wasn't ready for the lard from the burrito. And but it was so good. But I had that sensation had a hot poker going all the way through to my back. The pain radiated all the way through my body. But it was because that damn diet that I was on that freaking caused it. And then I had to have my gallbladder taken out the next day. And it was a nightmare, but it was a long time ago.
Foods were really weird. It was hummus one time. Uh-huh. It was an avocado, which took me a long time to slowly reintroduce hummus again. But an avocado, I'm still afraid of avocados. And I used to eat them all the time. But, you never really make friends again with your turkey.
Like me and tequila.
Yeah. Oh, I learned lessons long ago.
So thank you so much for talking to me today. And if you're a listener and you're watching this and you love this, definitely subscribe to my channel. And then Substantia, will you tell everybody again where they can find you on Facebook, Instagram, and your website? That way we can send some people your way.
Adipositivity.com, ADI positivity, all one word. That's the website. Be careful, it's not safe for work.
Right.
Unless you work at Naked Fat People Land. And on Instagram, Twitter, and sometimes Facebook when I'm not banned, I am at Adipositivity. And on Facebook, also when I'm not banned, I'm at Substantia Jones.
We can probably still go to your Facebook page. You just can't post to it, right?
Yes. Oh, and Patreon. Patreon.com/Adipositivity.
Lovely. And people can support your work there, and they can, help keep you in business. We want to keep you in business for sure.
And there's a new thing coming to the Patreon account soon, called ASS. ASS stands for Ask Substantia Stuff.
Oh.
Video series, and it's for Patreon patrons, but ultimately the videos will eventually make their way into the general public as well. But
love it.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, I'm so glad you're feeling better, and I wish you all the best for your next surgery.
This was fun.
Yeah, it was really great to have you. And, I just love what you do so much. It was so fun being an adiposer. And yes, you can just kiss my fat ass if you don't like my picture, because I don't give a fuck.
Right. You said it.
Beautiful. Thanks, Substantia. Nice talking with you. I'll talk to you soon.
Thank you, Crystal.
You're welcome. Bye.